So first of all, I need to make sure that I thank the Kahn family for the opportunity that I have been given here to lead the Jaguars for the next 4 weeks. Also have to thank Coach Meyer for bringing me here, and and this staff that we have. There's a bunch of great guys that are in there, a bunch of great coaches, I think that we're in good hands with with the guys that he's assembled here. I also want to wish him the best. The timing of this thing, and when these things happen, they're obviously never ideal. They're very tough and difficult situations to be put into in either way. But it's one that I'm super excited about. It's a great opportunity for us to be able to just get focused on these next 4 weeks. And really, as I told the team earlier today, it's just 1 week, right? We have a 1-game season. The Houston Texans coming in here. All our efforts and everything that we're thinking about is getting a win there. So,
Darrell, can you talk a little bit about you've been through this experience before. What was it like in the locker room in terms of the effort that you felt you were given last year in this situation, and do you expect something similar or different here?
Yeah, I really don't expect anything different. I thought the players in Detroit were outstanding. I thought that they were 100% all in. Those guys really did work their tails off. They went to work, and it's as big of a change for them as it is for us. And I thought they gave me their all. The first game we went to Chicago, and we had to come back, come from behind victory. It was an awesome experience, and the guys were great. And so it was a really good experience, and I really wouldn't expect it to be any different here. And I have obviously a great relationship with the guys that are on the offensive side of the ball that I've spent a lot of time with. But we have such cool players, on both sides of the ball. I could name them, Miles and Josh, and all those guys on the defensive side of the ball that. That are dying to get wins, that and they just want to dive full head into this thing and win some games.
From what we saw in 20 minutes today in practice, it seemed very spirited, very enthusiastic. Would you say that that's the case today? Are the guys, I don't know whether you call it relief or anything like that, but are the guys enthusiastic right now about moving forward?
Well, I think they were focused. I was really excited about that, because anytime you have really any type of distractions, that it can be something that can affect practice and affect the things that you're doing. So I was fired up the way that they came out there. They handled their business, and we practiced really well today. We got a little bit of rain to work out in as well, because I think there's a chance for rain in the game. So that's always good opportunities.
What was the reaction?
How much tension was there between Urban and the assistant coaching staff, and you in particular? There's been a lot of reports about how kind of hard it was to work and get done.
Well, I had a great experience. Like I said, Coach Meyer brought me in here, and I have a lot of respect for him and and what he did for me and my family. And other than that, I really wanted, as I said to the team, we're not looking back. Today's a new day. We're moving forward, and I want to move ahead, and all eyes and everything that we're doing, I want it to be on Houston.
How would you still be the play caller, or would the structure be the same as it was before?
Well, I think I want to get through this week. I'm going to call the plays this week, and then it's later in the week than it normally would be. So we're going to do status quo. We're going to keep everything the same this week, and then over the weekend, then we'll mull over some things, and you'll probably have some conversations.
Will that mean you're in the booth, or are you going to be on the field?
I'll be on the field.
Okay. Are you? Thoughts about that?
I love being on the field. I've been on the field the whole time. It's kind of been foreign to be up in the box these last 13 weeks or whatever it's been. So I'm excited to get back down there. There's just great energy when you're on the field. It's like playing a video game when you're up there. It's so stale. It's so quiet. So it's good to be around the guys. The interaction is better. Communication can be better with the players. I have great communication with the coaches on the headset, but being able to see their eyes and talk to them, it's a different experience when you're on the field.
Speaking of the communication over the headset, one of the reports that surfaced last weekend was possible communication about benching James Robinson. Can you just discuss what his role is in this offense moving forward, and knowing what those conversations may or may not have been?
James Robinson is our starting running back. He will be played as such. Yep.
Where did this unravel? What is the disconnect between Urban Meyer and NFL players and NFL coaches? Because there's clearly a disconnect.
Yeah. What I'd like to say is I just want to keep everything on Houston, and maybe at the end, was when the time to reflect and go back and look back at all the things that happened. But it really is a time where it's 4 games left in the season, and we want everything and all the narrative and all the communication just going on and taking on the Texans.
Can you timeline how everything kind of went down last night in terms of when you found out, when they told you were going to be the interim and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, Trent communicated with me late last night. I don't know exactly what time it was, but it was pretty late, and he had informed me that Shad had called him and they had talked about the decision that they made, and that he informed him that he would like me to be the interim. So Trent had that conversation with me. So it was, I don't know what time it was. It was pretty late, and then came back in this morning and kind of let it rip.
I know you're trying to move on, but did you guys game plan without Urban Meyer last night?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he left the building at some point in the afternoon and you didn't see him again?
Yes.
Okay.
What have your conversations been with Trevor, just, since the change?
It's really just full steam ahead on football. I mean, there's not going to be going to have these side conversations or anything. Just like, hey, what'd you think? I mean, we're going, and that's what's the cool thing is about these guys. Is they come to work, they're ready to go, and again, some point when you need to reflect, there's probably a chance to reflect. But right now, it's all eyes on the Houston Texans.
You mentioned it a bit, but being on the field, calling plays with Trevor now, do you feel like that could be kind of at a different perspective to just, how you two really interact in terms of, calling plays and trying to get some production?
Yeah, it'll definitely be different. Again, I'm excited to be able to do that because that's what I'm familiar with. The last however many years, that's what I've been doing. And there is something about being down there, like I said, the energy, the juice, but then being able to look them in the eye, how they're doing, and some of the other communications that you might have, I'm excited about.
What do you think went wrong last time against the Texans, week 1, for you guys? What do
Yeah.
you think went wrong? On offense?
Looking back, it was the first game, and we didn't play very well. I mean, there's some good in there, some bad in there. It's kind of been if we go all the way back at the beginning, there was just a steady climb at the beginning of the season from where we started to where we went to. I don't know, 4 or 5 games in, and then we've had a lull since then. And the things that are happening now were some of those things that happened then. Whether it's some holding penalties, where it's jumping off sides, those, I think there was 12 men on the field, just some of those orchestration things that really there's no excuse for in the game. And, we got to get that thing cleaned up. And I'm excited about where we're at today.
You were an interim head coach last year with Detroit. What did you learn from that experience that prepared you for this year?
Well, I learned I'll be talking to you guys a lot more. That was the thing that hit me the most. I was like, man, we do it every day. But no, I love it. But it was.
I won't quiz you on the stuff in your dressing. I promise. We're good. We're good.
Yeah. So it was, So I mean, that's one thing I thought was a lot. But there's just so much more that comes across your desk that really you don't even think about. As the coordinator or position coach, you're so dialed in on what you're doing. There's all these other things that are going on in the building, all these other people, and all of a sudden it becomes, it's all on your desk. And so those were the things that I learned, and so I think it's prepared me for this opportunity again today. And we have great people in the organization, and I mean the wheels are already spinning behind the scenes as they always have, and I know that they'll continue to.
Sometimes when coaches are looking at tape and things aren't going well, I'm not saying about one game, I'm saying a series of games. They can pinpoint it and take steps to actually fix it, and sometimes they're just baffled, hamstrung as to what to do. When you look back at the last 6 weeks, 9.1 points per game.
Yeah.
Are you baffled, or do you see a path out, and it's just a matter of executing that?
But that's a really good question, because there are times that you feel exactly that way. I would say it's probably a little bit of both. There's times where it's like I know exactly what has happened, but then there are times where it's baffling to you that some of the mistakes that we've made. And I think that I don't know if you were in our meeting the other day. It sounds like you were, but I kind of really got after the offense the other day because of the mistakes that we made. I mean, there was things that we should know from when we started playing Pop Warner football, and those are the ones that are a little bit more baffling. So we got to those are things that we got to get out of our game. Whether it's your hands are outside and you get called for a holding, and whether you don't do the techniques things correctly that you're supposed to.
As a
Shad,
follow-up to
two more
that,
guys.
Trevor has clearly regressed these last 6 weeks. How much of that might be connected also to the offensive line seemingly taking a step back as well?
Yeah, I've kind of heard that statement said, and I really don't like it. That the people are saying that he's regressed. What I look at is he's a rookie quarterback, and he's learning to play the game in the NFL. And whether it takes you, I would say it takes you a full season at least to be able to get to a point where the next time you come around, it's like, okay, now I can take a breath. Now I can think about this stuff and really learn from all the things that have happened through a season. And so, Trevor's had some really good moments. He's had some learning moments. I mean, last week, there was a conversation. We left him in the game. It's like, hey, he's got to work through this. He's got to work through this. And those are all these experiences are very valuable to him. And none of it is hurting him, in my opinion. And I just think there are things that he has to go through. And but to say that he's regressed, I don't believe that.
Okay, how about not ascending the way you would like? How about that? Is that better?
Well, we're not winning, and that's the key. We're not winning. We're not scoring points. We're not moving the ball enough, and those are the things that we've had many conversations about.
Mark and then Mia.
You dumped a lot of Meyerisms today at practice, I assume in the building too. How do you balance the routine that you guys have had for 13 weeks versus some of the things you want to change for the Final Four?
Well, I think the routines are very important for these guys, number one. But number two is all I can do is be me. Fortunately, I've been around a lot of great coaches, and the thing I learned from them is I take the things from them that I can put into my personality, my way, and then say, okay, I just can't pull that off. And so I'm only going to be me, and I'm going to try to be that same person each and every day.
Shad said Monday that he's had a pretty much open line of communication with the assistants throughout the season. How would you evaluate that communication level, and at what point, I guess, did it not seem out of the blue that Urban was relieved of his duties?
The communication level is, we do see him all the time. He's been in the building. He's in the Saturday night meetings. So we see him around. He's always very personable. Always, can have a conversation with him. I think, in my opinion, there's always a level of shock when things like this happen. Regardless of all the things that go on, there's just that, it's like, oh wow, it happened, and particularly, in this case, in the first season, and so I do think there was a level of shock there.
Thanks. And we'll have Trevor next and then Shaq Griffin.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.